Happy Friday. That's two of my favorite words that you can put together to form a sentence. Happy Friday, and that's where we are. 21st day of January 2022. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on a beautiful January morning. We're in for a nice stretch of weather. Boy, did we deserve it, too. We had that long stretch of the inversion and the clouds and the fog and the mist and didn't see the sunshine unless you went up above the cloud deck. Well, we're done with that. Temperatures are crazy. It's 36 in Wenatchee right now, which is just fine. We can deal with that. You go out to the basin, Alfred is only at 19. It's a big temperature difference there between what we have here in Wenatchee and out in the Columbia Basin. Ridge of high pressure is going to build up. It's just offshore, right off the Pacific. And then like the last ridge of high pressure, which was a flat ridge, we had that inversion. This one's a bit of a domey one, and it's going to take any kind of inclement weather that's going to head our way, and it's going to send it away from us. Sunshine, mild temperatures for the foreseeable future. No snow, no rain. We like that. Details are coming up. Passes are going to be pretty quiet, too. It's snowing right now on Stevens, and they have a traction tire advisory. That's all you're going to have to deal with there, and that's going to come to an end quite quickly, and we'll be good to go there. News, got that. Sports, wow, a lot of sports. Very, very busy Sports Friday coming your way, including highlights of last night's Wenatchee-Eastmont wrestling match that we carried here. Gonzaga victorious, Kraken victorious, Wild victorious, highlights. In sports, got a brand new opinion from my Mad Dog McNaughty. And into the back half of the program, I had a chance a couple of days ago to sit down with Luke Davies, the administrator of the Chelan Douglas Health District. As you know by now, Omicron is here, making tremendous headway in getting a lot of people sick here in the Wenatchee Valley, and how the Chelan Douglas Health District has responded to this latest variant will be the topic with Luke Davies, a very important and informative conversation that airs in the back half of the program. And because the clouds and the fog are gone, we can use pretty much any camera we want to use now. So let's see what we have out there today. That is, I still believe, the lower camera, the east, Wenatchee Heights East is what we call it, not the main cross camera. It's still a beautiful camera as East Wenatchee takes a bow. And a little bit of a snow melt yesterday, or coming today. And right into the weekend, and this is what we want, a gradual snow melt. We jumped up to like 55 degrees and all that snow melted at once. There's really no place for it to go. At least if it's a gradual snow melt, it not only dissipates into the atmosphere, but it also can drain away too. So good morning to East Wenatchee taking a bow today. Camera number 2. Speaking of clouds and fog, is that Billy Goat? That's Billy Goat. Wow. Yeah, and the National Weather Service did mention this, and I'll do it now. The low clouds and fog, that stratus is still going to affect the areas to the north of us. The Methow Valley and the Okanagan, Omak area, you're still going to be socked in by those clouds. As you can see, we're above the cloud level, but you can't see Pateros or Brewster or Bridgeport. Well, you couldn't see Bridgeport anyway. But a pretty cool view from Billy Goat looking down in the Okanagan County area. It's there, you just can't see it. Camera number 3. Ooh, Lake Wenatchee. Starting to freeze up a little bit more, perhaps. Turning face to your right, the Cater Glen Golf and Ski Resort at the bottom of your screen. Got a beautiful view from Lake Wenatchee. Got to get up there. One of my favorite places to go in north central Washington. Very calm and peaceful and woodsy. And camera number 4. What are we looking at here? That's the Omi Gardens camera? You must have... I think we maybe have that pointed over to the Sleepy Hollow area. That's what I'm guessing. That's the only thing that makes sense. So, okay. Hi, folks. Wave back to me. Here you go. So that's the Omi Gardens camera, but that ain't Omi Gardens. I can tell you that much. Normally, we have that pointed over the Columbia River. Okay. That's cool. I can live with that. Throw me for a loop. Oh, and there's the cross camera. Apparently, it's a bonus 5 cameras today. 5 cameras on this bonus Friday. Look at the twinkly lights. It's a beautiful area we live in. Sunrise this morning, 7:39. Sunset tonight, 4:46. That's 9 hours and 7 minutes of daylight. And we hit 42 degrees yesterday. And that's about where we're going to be today from the National Weather Service. Here we go. Again, that ridge of high pressure building offshore. All the cold air has moved off to the east. And we are looking good. Just a few passing clouds. We'll get up to right around 40, 41. No cloud cover tonight. That means chilly temperatures, 26 for the overnight low. A little bit cooler on Saturday. High of about 35. Again, Bountiful sunshine for everybody. Sunday, a little cooler still. The freezing level, by the way, is going to go above 10,000 feet, and it's going to be one of those scenarios where it's going to be considerably warmer the higher up you go in elevation. The higher you are, the warmer you are going to be. Sunday, right around freezing with some patchy fog, and then we start dealing with some fog issues in the morning. So we'll have some fog that builds up in the overnight hours, and it'll still be prevalent when the sun rises, and then eventually as the sun begins to climb up in the sky, it'll burn the fog off. So we're going to head into this period where we're going to have some clouds and some fog in the morning, but it will rapidly burn off to sunshine. That's a good-looking forecast. I can live with that. I'm liking that. To the mountain passes we go. Your pass report brought to you by our friends at D.A. Davidson. The strength of it. Apparently it's 2nd and 7 at the mountain passes. The strength of a trusted partner and personalized solutions to meet your financial needs. Member SIPC. Do we have cameras, Uriah? Camera, Uriah, because it ain't working. Blue pass is fine. Clear. No problems at all. I-95. Roadway is bare and wet. Clear skies. You're good. The snow is supposed to taper off on Stevens Pass in the next hour or so. And then that's it. There's absolutely no precipitation, snow, rain, or otherwise in the mountain passes once Stevens gets through this minor snow event, which is going on right now. And then that's it. There's just going to be very benign weather up in the Cascades. And my guess is once they lift the traction tire advisory on Stevens, there will be no advisories or restrictions on any of the mountain passes for the foreseeable future. There you go. Okay. Interesting pass report. 7 minutes after the hour, a break, and then we'll have your Friday morning headlines. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Katie Jocelyn, and I'm a pediatrician at CVCH. I would like to address some of the hesitancy that many parents may be feeling about the COVID-19 vaccine for their young child. My husband and I both work in the medical field, and we have reviewed the research, and we determined that this vaccine is far safer for our child than getting a COVID-19 infection. I encourage you to talk to your provider and find out if the COVID-19 vaccine is the right choice for your child.
I'm John Davis from Wenatchee Dental Arts, and I like to think myself as a comprehensive dentist. We are an office that treats people comprehensively for their dental problems. We do a lot of general dentistry in a broad sense. We don't send everything out. Things that we have the ability to do in the office, we like to keep in the office and under one roof and keep things as complication-free as possible. You can come to one place and have all their dental needs taken care of.
Find ageless beauty at Chelan Valley Skincare. Cindy offers the most up-to-date treatments for personalized skincare. If sagging skin or acne scars are some skin challenges for you, Chelan Valley Skincare offers non-invasive, non-surgical skincare. With up-to-date technology for shorter treatment plans, you'll benefit from Cindy's expertise to help you accomplish your skincare goals. Please stop by their website for details on all their services. Call Cindy today for your free consultation.
Are you frustrated because you feel like you aren't getting the internet speeds you pay for? One of the most common ways to test your internet connection is called a speed test. These are free and easily located on the internet and can tell you how fast your internet is. However, for certain reasons, these tests may not always be accurate. A speed test shows you how fast a file can be downloaded to the computer you're running the test on. However, there are many things that can affect the speed of that download besides the speed of the internet going into your home. A few of the things that can affect your internet speed are poor Wi-Fi signal, other wireless signals interfering with the wireless signals coming from your router, other devices in your home draining your bandwidth, your computer or phone running apps programs in the background that you aren't aware of, slowing your entire device. Any of these things can slow down your internet. Your internet is like water flowing down a pipe. There's a big pipe bringing internet to your local area, and a smaller pipe coming off of that bringing internet to your home address. Your router is just another pipe that brings the internet inside your house, and every device inside your home is like a pipe connected to the router. Just like with water, if any of those pipes along the way are too small for the amount of internet that needs to flow through for a family, the flow for everything down the line will be much slower. It's a lot like trying to push all the water going into your house through a small straw. Also, again, just like with water, if everyone in your home is using the internet at once, any individual device may not be able to receive the full flow of the internet. It's like your whole family trying to drink out of that small straw all at once. If you're struggling with internet that is slower than expected, make sure that all of the devices that your internet flows through are working correctly, and check all devices in your home for background programs that may be using the internet. If everything still appears to be working correctly, contact us and we'll be able to help.
Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow. We have live bands to rock the night away, comedy to make you laugh, and if that's not enough, we have poker every Monday and Wednesday night. Club Crow in Cashmere has it all. Check out our Facebook event page for dates and times. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
It is 36 degrees in downtown Wenatchee, lower 40s today, quite a bit of sunshine, lots of sunshine for the most part, slightly cooler temperatures over the weekend, and we begin with this story at 12 minutes after the hour. The Chelan Douglas Health District in the last couple of weeks have set up a COVID-19 testing center at the Town Toyota Center, a triage facility at Saddle Rock Church, and an emergency operations center at Wenatchee Valley College. I had a chance to sit down with Health District Director Luke Davies, and he told me the rapid spread of the Omicron variant in our community necessitated all three of those events.
Part of what's happening with the Omicron variant is that it's coming in a very short time period. It is wildly infectious. And we know that probably by the end of January, everyone will have had an exposure event. Whether they get infected or not will depend on their vaccination status, whether they wear a mask and that kind of stuff. But we expect by the end of January, everyone to be infected. And so as we...
Or at least exposed.
Exposed.
Right, yeah.
And as we move forward on this, we're anticipating that it's already causing issues across the country in terms of supply chain, critical infrastructure, and some of those different things. And so we're wanting to make sure that our critical infrastructure here, that we have a heads up if there's going to be a problem. And the Omicron Emergency Operations Center at the Wenatchee Valley College is separate from our Emergency Operations Center that Chelan County EM has. So they'll be handling everything, around if we have like the snowstorm, they handle the snowstorm, all that kind of stuff. Our Emergency Operations Center for Omicron is specifically to this variant for kind of a 4-week period. And the main goal of that is to make sure that we can keep critical infrastructure operational during this time. So to keep the lights on, keep the water running, make sure that people can go to the hospital if they need to get treatment, transportation, snow plowing, all of those different components that we're used to helping run our everyday life. That is the biggest risk right now with this Omicron variant coming in, is that if everybody gets sick all at the same time, then it puts our systems at risk. So our goal for that is to make sure that we're communicating with one another and getting a heads up if there's going to be a school closure that happens, or if, like, for instance, a grocery store has to close, et cetera, that we're making sure we're communicating out to the public and that people can get what they need in order to be safe during this period.
10 members of the Washington State National Guard are expected into town next week. They're going to help with the COVID-19 efforts, as you know. Confluence Health's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Jason Lake, says they're going to be used for non-medical staffing at both the Emerson Street COVID testing site and the triage center for COVID patients at Saddle Rock Presbyterian Church. Right now, the plan is to have the National Guard help with intakes and traffic control as patients arrive at both of those sites. Governor Jay Inslee last week ordered 100 National Guard members into non-medical support roles at 4 Washington health centers, including Confluence. Central Washington Hospital has seen a surge in patients with the Omicron variant, and demand for COVID testing in the valley has exploded in the last couple of weeks. Brock Haynes is the regional director of the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife, and you know about this story. He admitted shooting a deer out of season last month. Well, he owed up to the incident in a virtual public meeting on Wednesday. The online open house was focused on issues in the North Central region involving fish and wildlife. That's where Haynes has been the director since July. He faces poaching charges in Ferry County for shooting a whitetail buck with a rifle when the area was only open for bow hunting.
As many of you know, I made headlines last week for committing and self-reporting a hunting violation. Although some of the details associated with that incident have already been reported in the media, I simply can't speak to any of the specifics tonight because of the ongoing judicial process. It's a regrettable and embarrassing mistake. I wish I could take it back, but I can't. So I simply have to own up to that mistake and accept the consequences that come with it. What I can say tonight is there's no way for me to spin this or make an excuse. I'm in this situation because I didn't take the 30 seconds that would have taken me to double check in the hunting pamphlet what I thought to be true in my head. As such, I do hope that this can serve as a learning experience for other hunters, and that no matter how long you've been going on a hunt or how confident you are in knowing the regulations, always double check them before you go out, because there's always a chance that you've misremembered or there's been a small change that's been made. And in doing so, your interpretation or what you think to be correct could actually be wrong.
Brock's been very clear. He's owned this from the beginning. We all make mistakes. He did exactly what we encourage people to do when they feel like they may have made a violation or committed a violation. That's contact us directly in that self-reporting. We'll get enforcement involved. Beyond that, there is an ongoing legal proceeding, court proceeding with this, and so we don't want to say too much anything to interfere with that. And it's very important that complete before we really decide what we're going to do.
And finally, on this Friday, the longest-serving president in the history of Wenatchee Valley College, Dr. Jim Richardson, announced he's going to be retiring at the end of the school year. He's been leading Wenatchee Valley College as his president since 2005. During his tenure, he was instrumental in developing new academic programs, grant programs, the construction of multiple new buildings. The college began offering its first four-year degrees in 2017 after decades of awarding only two-year associate degrees. Richardson's effective retirement date, last day of June. The Board of Trustees of Wenatchee Valley College will meet in a special session on Tuesday to consider the steps in filling that office. Best of luck and happy retirement to Dr. Richardson. That's what's making headlines. At 18 minutes after the hour, with everything that you need to get your weekend going, we'll have a newscast for you tonight at 5, 6, and 10 with a preview. Here's Grant Olson. I think. Should we 86 the preview and move on? We got it.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, get ready for a quiet, dry, and mild stretch of weather right through the middle of next week. I'll have all the details in your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, Eric Granstrom has results from last night's prep basketball and wrestling, as well as college basketball scores and the latest from the Kraken. That and all the day's news stories coming your way tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. This is live television. We work without a net. Get a hold of us if you have a news tip or you want to drop us a note and say hi. Our Facebook page, our email address is right at the bottom of your screen. You can go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, and click on the Contact Us icon. Man, do we have a lot of sports. And I mean a lot of sports. Don't believe me? Stay with us. We'll be back in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
With all the variety on SureStream TV from Localtel, there's always something to watch. But what if you hit the couch in the middle of all the shows? That's a perfect time to use the features Catch Up or Restart. Catch up on shows from up to 3 days ago, or restart your show from the beginning. Go to your guide and select the show to restart. Then play, pause, rewind on your schedule. Don't forget, SureStream TV from Localtel lets you decide when shows begin.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills. A chill is in the air and it's a perfect time for some old-fashioned comfort food like our amazing Eggs Benedict, chicken fried steak, French dips, soups made from scratch, or fruit pies fresh from the oven. The crowds might be gone, but we're still here for you folks, so bring an appetite and a friend to Blueberry Hills in Manson, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. Open Wednesday through Sunday from 8 to 3. wildaboutberries.com.
Sports at 20 minutes after the hour. For the first time since New Year's Eve, the Wenatchee Wild played a hockey game, and they won. They beat Cranbrook 3-2 in BCHL play. No scores, no goals in the first period. The Wenatchee got on board in the second on goals by Travis Bonnet and Ian Samoza. Sean Zayers with the call on Hockey TV.
Losing the puck. Now Parker. Here's the shot and a save. Managed to off the rebound. Wenatchee picks up the first goal of the game at 13:47. Period number 2, Wenatchee leads 1-0. And it will be picked up by Morrissey, who can't get it out. Kept in by Wenatchee. It might have been deflected by Quinn Emerson, but Wenatchee has scored again, and it's a 2-0 lead. And then it's going to be controlled, and a bad pass, and it's gotten a score. 8:15 in the second period. Cranbrook has cut the lead in half, 2-1. Gasparini, downloaded Bond. Here's a centering attempt, and he couldn't get it down. What a goal! Oh my goodness! 3-1, Wenatchee leads.
Cade Littler would put the game winner in the back of the net very early on in the third period, and the Wild hung on for the 3-2 victory. Those two teams play again tonight, 7:05. And then they're on the bus and on their way up north. The Wild will take on West Kelowna in Canada Saturday at 7. 2 in a row for the Seattle Kraken. They fought back after a sluggish start. They beat San Jose 3-2 at Climate Pledge Arena after falling behind. Carson Soucy lit the lamp twice to put the Kraken up for good.
A tight turn by Appleton. Giordano wide open. Shortening up on the stick is Soucy. He scores! Carson Soucy! Look out. Breakaway. Timo Meyer. What a save! Philip Grubauer anticipated that. Look out. Here's a chance. A shot. He scores! Slid along the ice. A tip high off the glass by Yarncroke. Yarncroke scores! Hey, hey! What do you say? Kelly Yarncroke set up beautifully by Morgan Ginky. Picked off by Giordano. Puck is loose, fed across. They score. It's Timo Meyer. 4 seconds left. Larson rims it. A keep by Burns. 2 seconds. Carlson blocked. That's Kraken hockey, baby. It's a 3-2 win over San Jose.
They're right back at it again tonight. St. Louis Blues. And then they're going to be hosting Florida Sunday at 6. All the action on Root Sports. To the Les Schwab women's basketball scoreboard. Boy, Louisville just collapsed in the fourth quarter. North Carolina State outscored the Cardinals 31-8. Haley Van Lith had 13 points in the game in a losing effort. Gonzaga got past Portland 68-59, and Sacramento State beat Eastern Washington in women's basketball. Coming up tonight in women's basketball, the Huskies hosting the Ducks. You got Eastern at North Colorado tomorrow, and Gonzaga travels to St. Mary's. Louisville back home against Wake Forest Sunday morning at 11, and the Huskies will host the Beavers at noon. Wasn't easy for Gonzaga last night, but the top-ranked Bulldogs did beat San Francisco 78-62. Highlights courtesy of Gonzaga Athletics. Well done, Gonzaga. To the scoreboard we go. Another action last night. Let's see. Eagles, the Screaming Eagles beat Sacramento State in men's basketball 75-62, and the Huskies knocked off Oregon State 82-72. The schedule tomorrow, you got Northern Colorado visiting Eastern at 2. The Cougars have COVID issues. They will not be playing Oregon State tomorrow. Washington will travel to Oregon Sunday at 7 on the Pac-12 Network. We had wrestling last night. Wenatchee took care of Eastmont. The final was 52-21. They're the winners for the Wenatchee Panthers. The best match was the last one. Wenatchee's Vincent Goforth and Eastmont's Juan Martinez Gonzalez did a great battle. We're going to pick it up in the third.
Whistle sounds. Martinez Gonzalez rolls and gets let's see, is he going to get a 2-point reversal? He didn't get the escape. He should get the escape now, as he'll throw Goforth over with a minute to go. What do we have here? The official's still saying that Goforth has the advantage. Again, Martinez Gonzalez tosses him, but doesn't have control. He's got to cover the hips here. He's got to show that he's got control of Goforth on the bottom. 44 seconds left in the match. Now he gets a 2-point reversal. So it's a 4-3 match. And now Goforth stands up, and he will let him loose. So it's 5-3 our score. 25 seconds left. Martinez Gonzalez needs the takedown, needs a throw. Goforth has a single leg. Both wrestlers exhausted. Martinez Gonzalez trying to throw him one more time. 10 seconds left here in the match. Goforth will get the takedown, and Vincent Goforth will win this match by a final of 7-3. How about that?
Again, the Panthers take the match 52-21. Other wrestling scores from last night from our friends at Les Schwab. Sunnyside down Moses Lake. Ephrata edged Grandview. The wrestling schedule: Moses Lake tonight will host West Valley at 5, and then Eastmont at 7. Tomorrow you got Cascade, and 16 other schools will be in Prosser for a tournament at 9 o'clock, and a whole bunch of other schools will be in Quincy for a tournament that begins at 10 o'clock. Everybody into the pool. Moses Lake beat Eastmont in boys swimming 138-41. Wenatchee beat West Valley 110-47. Today Eastmont will host the 11 dive meet that gets underway at noon at the Eastmont Aquatic Center. Les Schwab Prep boys basketball scoreboard from last night. Eisenhower Wenatchee, a late scratch. Lake Roosevelt edged Brewster, Okanagan over Warden, Moses Lake Christian winners as well, and he had edged Wilson Creek Bridgeport, won by forfeit. Girls scoreboard, again from Les Schwab, Warden edged Okanagan, Moses Lake Christian got by Pateris, and he at top of Wilson Creek Bridgeport beating Cascade Christian. The girls schedule: Eastmont is at Davis at 5:45, Bomac will host Okanagan, and Cashmere travels to Chelan. 6 o'clock has Brewster at Tenaska, Waterville, Mansfield, and Soap Lake. Manson hosts Liberty Bell, Ellensburg visiting Ephrata. Girls schedule on Saturday. Cashmere will host Clay Ellen. Waterville, Mansfield will be at Manson. Waterville, Mansfield will host Manson. The Antioch girls will visit Liberty Bell. Moses Lake hosts Sunnyside, and Bridgeport travels to Lake Roosevelt. The boys' schedule looks something like this tonight. Quincy's at Cascade. Tenaska takes on Brewster. Waterville, Mansfield is at Soap Lake, and Manson will host Liberty Bell. Okanagan and Omak get underway at 7:15. Cashmere visits Chelan, and Ephrata will host Ellensburg on Saturday. Boys play. Your schedule looks like that. 4 o'clock, you got Manson at Waterville, Mansfield. 4:30, tip for Antioch at Liberty Bell. West Valley will be up here in Wenatchee at 4:45. And then you got Quincy at Wapato, Bridgeport at Lake Roosevelt, and Sunnyside at Moses Lake. Finally, football. The divisional playoff schedule, here you go. Cincinnati will be at Tennessee tomorrow at 1:30. That'll be on CBS. 5:15 tomorrow night. San Francisco and Green Bay at frozen Lambeau Field. Sunday's action starts at noon on NBC. Tampa Bay hosts LA, and then Buffalo at Kansas City wraps up the weekend 3:30 on CBS. And those are just some of the games that people are playing at the bottom of the hour. Your obscure holiday. Yesterday was Penguin Appreciation Day. Today is Squirrel Appreciation Day. And ironically enough, penguins and squirrels from the same family. No, they're not. I made that up. Our friendly little squirrels. Yeah, our good friends. Squirrels' teeth, if they didn't chew, would grow 6 inches a year. So their constant gnawing is the only thing that keeps their teeth under control. 6 inches a year. A group of squirrels is called a scurry. There are 265 different species of squirrels in the world, and 44 of those can fly. As you probably know by now, if you're patient enough and still enough, a wild squirrel will eat out of your hand. Hi, Squirrel Appreciation Day is today, for reasons I don't know. Whether there's a Chipmunk Appreciation Day or not, I didn't have time to look that up. Today in history, really bad day for Louis XVI. Yeah, really bad day. 229 years ago today, January 21st, 1793, he was, of course, found guilty of treason by the French National Convention. And the last king of France, Louis XVI, off with his head. That's the only known photograph. And that was it. No more French royalty. Smart move, French, 229 years ago today. One of the best Super Bowls, one of the really Super Bowls that was a really, really big event was this one. By far, the two most popular teams in the National Football League were the Steelers and the Cowboys. Super Bowl XIII was held on this date at the Orange Bowl in Miami. It was the fifth and final Super Bowl played at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Of course, the Steelers beat the Cowboys 35-31. This was the first Super Bowl ever. They had a rematch of two teams that had already played each other in the Super Bowl. They had played in Super Bowl X, Super Bowl 10. And this was the first Super Bowl that had a 7-man officiating crew. They added the side judge that year. Now they have an 8-man officiating crew. And if you count the instant replay, I don't know. Super Bowl XIII held on this date 43 years ago today. Super Bowl, by the way, is a registered trademark of the National Football League. And the DeLorean went into production in Northern Ireland on this date 41 years ago today. The iconic DeLorean, the DMC-12 sports car. They made about 9,000 DeLoreans before the company went bankrupt. There are still about 6,000 out there, which is remarkable if you think about it. The DeLorean started production. Look for one in your showroom shortly. Birthdays, a couple of Washington governors. Albert Rossellini, born in the state in 1910. He was the 15th governor of the state of Washington. He served from 1957 to 1965. Al Rossellini was and remains the longest living governor in this country's history. He lived to the age of 101. Gary Locke, the 21st governor of the state of Washington, is 72 years old today. He served from 1997 to 2005. Alfred Hawthorne Hill, probably better known as Benny Hill, born in the state 98 years ago today. The famous Benny Hill Show, which was a huge hit in this country a number of years after it was already a huge hit in Great Britain. Benny Hill, born in the state in 1924. Real name, Bob Smith. If you're going to be a world-famous disc jockey, you don't go by the name Bob Smith. He changed his name to Wolfman Jack, the howlin' prowlin' Wolfman Jack, born in the state in 1938, died in 1995 at the age of 57. Jack Nicklaus is 82 years old today, 18 major championships, still the all-time record, but the most remarkable statistic, and we're only talking major championships, he finished second 19 times. So there were 19 other tournaments that he could have won and didn't, and he still won 18 major championships. Happy 82nd birthday to the Golden Bear. And Paul Allen would have been 69 years old today, the American businessman, and of course, co-founder of Microsoft and a longtime owner of the Seahawks. We miss Paul Allen. 34 minutes after the hour, a brand new opinion from my Mad Dog Magnotti, and then my conversation with Luke Davies, the administrator of the Chelan Douglas Health District, is coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Are you looking at buying your first home or additional homes? Perhaps an investment property or refinancing? Let the local Caliber home loan experts help guide you every step of the way with 2 convenient locations to serve you in Wenatchee and Chelan. Give us a call today.
News, weather, and sports. It's all here weekdays at 5, 6, and 10 on your local news source, the NCW Life channel.
There are so many possibilities for you to learn local right here at Wenatchee Valley College. Take classes towards a degree or certificate in more than 50 areas of study. Wenatchee Valley College now offers a large variety of virtual classes, including labs, sign language, music, and machining, and they have the resources to help you succeed in virtual classes. So when a college degree is your goal, learn local at Wenatchee Valley College.
this is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, there's a popular meme going around relating to the insanity of our twice-yearly change nonsense. You know, daylight savings time, yada, yada, yada. And this meme is a picture of a Native American gentleman, and he's saying something like, only a white man would think that cutting off the end of a blanket and sewing it onto the under end will make a longer blanket. Oh, well, okay. Well, back in November, Washington State Senator Patty Murray co-sponsored a bill to move the U.S. to daylight savings time year-round. Finally, some action. 2 years after Washington State approved the change at the state level, maybe we're getting something done. Now, I've never been much of a fan of Ms. Murray, but I do have to say, if she pushes through and gets this bill passed, and in doing so ends this crazy system of changing the time twice a year, then I will vote for her. Yes, I will. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
When it comes to finding a memory care community, you want the very best. You want to know that your loved one is safe and receiving compassionate care in a loving environment. Fieldstone Memory Care is an innovative assisted living community designed for those with Alzheimer's, dementia, and Parkinson's disease. You'll find a community specifically designed to enrich residents' lives. The Fieldstone team is here to help you navigate the important decisions you face when a loved one has dementia or Alzheimer's. Welcome home to Fieldstone.
And we are back. Normally, when a guest visits me on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, I always thank them for taking time out of their busy day to come down and see me. Luke Davies, the administrator of the Chelan Douglas Health District, has been so busy, we had a visit after work. But this is the work that he's doing is vitally important to the overall well-being of North Central Washington. That's why he does what he does. We have a lot to talk with Luke about. Luke, first of all, thanks for coming down and visiting me. I appreciate it. Right out of the box, let's go back about 10 days when the decision was made, when Omicron arrived as predicted, that the decision was made to de-emphasize vaccinations, emphasize testing. My guess is a lot of thought process went into that. Walk me through why you decided to lean heavily on testing and back off on the vaccines.
Well, thanks for having me. And, you know, one of the biggest issues when you have any type of epidemic or pandemic is you're always trying to figure out where is the best place to use my resources. And we have done a really phenomenal job in our two-county area for Chelan Douglas counties in getting people vaccinated, getting people in, doing that kind of stuff. And so when we saw that Omicron was coming in late November, early December, we started having a lot of conversations about how do we need to prioritize as we move forward. And as we got closer to Omicron, as soon as it was, our first case was detected December 10th, and we were notified December 23rd. We knew that we were kind of running down the clock on how quickly this thing was coming. And so much of the work, whether it's standing up a vaccination center, a testing site, or supporting different hospitals and what they're doing, it takes staff and people to do that work. And as we moved forward, we realized that we needed to really focus on making sure that people had access to testing. And so we ordered quite a bit of tests from Department of Health. And then for vaccinations, we're still running vaccine clinics on the weekends. We're still running some of these different pieces, but trying to adjust to make sure that our staff doesn't have to be in two places at the same time.
Are people who, at this point in 2 years now, nearly into COVID, are the people who simply aren't going to get vaccinated are not going to get vaccinated? Have we reached the vaccination ceiling, or is that what you're seeing right now?
Any public health intervention, you always have individuals who hold out for long periods of time, whether that is vaccinations or doing programs. In Kenya, I've worked with a lot of different groups doing things around HIV resources with things like PrEP or prophylaxis for HIV in Kenya, Uganda, Namibia. And one of the things that one of my mentors kind of reminded me as we were going through this is that for uptake on some of these different interventions, sometimes it takes 10, 15 years for people to kind of come around to it. And a lot of it has to do with lived experience. When you start knowing people who've either gotten sick or who have to live with it day to day, it changes how you think about what you're experiencing. And so, we saw a lot of that with HIV throughout the world, the people who were high risk different categories in different countries. And it's the same deal for Omicron. You have a lot of misinformation. You've got a lot of people pushing out that just different things that people listen to. And sometimes lived experience is enough to change their minds, and sometimes lived experience will never be enough. And so there's always times for that to change. But as we move forward in a pandemic specifically, we know that we have different variants that are coming down the line. And whether you get vaccinated now with the current vaccine for the current variants that we have, or we have to make a vaccine in the future for future variants, just like we do for influenza and other seasonal issues, we really are going to be focusing on getting that messaging, and we expect this to become an annual component, just like influenza is.
A lot of the focus has been on the Town Toyota Center testing side, as you know by now. If you think you may have it, you go. The best thing to do is to don't call them because they're just right now. It's just super swamped. Go online, fill out the form. They ask you a couple of questions, and you get a kickback, and they'll let you know. Okay, you maybe should go to the Town Toyota Center and get testing. Are you still having people going down to the testing side of the Town Toyota Center, just thinking I can just show up and get tested, not knowing that they have to go through this protocol? Is that still an issue?
Yeah, some people are. Sometimes we get backed up, but my team's worked really hard to make sure that they get everybody moving through. And then we're also worked really closely with Confluence. Confluence has set up a triage center on, I think, 1400 South Miller at the Saddle Rock Church. And, a lot of times, if people are really, really sick, we want them to go there because we want them to get checked out by a professional. If they think they need to go to the emergency room, that's the triage center for them to go to. Everyone else who's got symptoms, either the sniffles or, with COVID, we've heard them. You get fever, runny nose, sore throat, loss of taste, that kind of stuff. That's when we recommend you to go get tested.
And the idea is to the triage center at Saddle Rock Church, which is, first of all, right across the street from the hospital. So if you go there and they say you need to go to the hospital, basically you can go across the street and you're there. The other idea is that the hospital emergency room has to take care of some serious emergencies, whatever it may be, and they can't be swamped with people walking to the emergency room saying, I think I got COVID. It takes the onus off of them and allows them to do their job on things that are significantly serious for an emergency as opposed to COVID, and that's good. The other thing we haven't talked about yet, and it needs to be mentioned, is what's going on at Wenatchee Valley College. There's a setup there that ties into all this. Talk about that, because we haven't really been talking about that at all.
Yeah, we're working with Chelan County, Douglas County, EM on setting up an Omicron Emergency Operations Center. And the main focus for that center is to streamline all the communications coming in from our different sectors. Part of what's happening with the Omicron variant is that it's coming in a very short time period. It is wildly infectious. And we know that probably by the end of January, everyone will have had an exposure event. Whether they get infected or not will depend on their vaccination status, whether they wear a mask and that kind of stuff. But we expect by the end of January, everyone to be infected. And so as we...
or at least exposed.
Exposed.
Right, yeah.
And as we move forward on this, we're anticipating that it's already causing issues across the country in terms of supply chain, critical infrastructure, and some of those different things. And so we're wanting to make sure that our critical infrastructure here, that we have a heads up if there's going to be a problem. And the Omicron Emergency Operations Center at the Wenatchee Valley College is separate from our Emergency Operations Center that Chelan County EM has. So they'll be handling everything, around if we have like the snowstorm, they handle the snowstorm, all that kind of stuff. Our Emergency Operations Center for Omicron is specifically to this variant for kind of a 4-week period. And the main goal of that is to make sure that we can keep critical infrastructure operational during this time, so to keep the lights on, keep the water running, make sure that people can go to the hospital if they need to get treatment, transportation, snow plowing, all of those different components that we're used to helping run our everyday life. That is the biggest risk right now with this Omicron variant coming in, is that if everybody gets sick all at the same time, then it puts our systems at risk. So our goal for that is to make sure that we're communicating with one another and getting a heads up if there's going to be a school closure that happens, or if, like for instance, a grocery store has to close, etc., that we're making sure we're communicating out to the public and that people can get what they need in order to be safe during this period.
Who, during this period, Luke, again, we're talking to Luke Davies, the administrator of Chelan Douglas Health District. During your day, every day, who are the people you talk to every day about what's going on? Every day you're going to be on the phone or in a Zoom meeting with these people. Who are these people? Who are you talking to?
So the chair and vice chair of my board of health, so Kevin Overbay, County Commissioner Kevin Overbay, and Douglas County Commissioner Mark Straub. I'm usually communicating with them multiple times a week. I speak with Dr. Rutherford at Confluence Health and Joellen Colson as well, as they're managing their pieces, make sure that we're supporting them in their effort to treat COVID patients. And then my staff, I work really, really closely with my incident commander and regional emergency response coordinator, Kent Sisson, to make sure that we're getting everything that we need to do for our interventions against COVID-19 and moving all those pieces forward. I also speak with individuals from Department of Health. I speak with my neighbors in different areas, so Teresa Atkinson in Grant County and Lori Jones up in Okanagan County, as well as Tristan Lamb in Kittitas County. And so there is a lot to my day where I'm communicating with all of these different partners to make sure that we're getting as many resources as we can to Chelan Douglas to make sure that we're taking care of our population, and that we're aware of what's happening in other places that do end up affecting us.
For somebody, I'll use myself as an example. I got vaccinated, I don't know how long ago, it was spring or early summer. Then I got the booster in November. How do I know if I have a breakthrough case? What do I need to look for, just speaking personally, that maybe I have been exposed to Omicron because I feel what?
Fevers and chills. A lot of people are still losing taste and smell. That's a big one. That's primarily for COVID-19. Kind of a runny nose, congested, sore throat, that kind of stuff. What's really specific to Omicron and what's different than Delta or previous variants is that it's primarily staying in the upper respiratory tract. Whereas the previous variants were more infectious in the lungs. And that's part of the reason why Omicron is less severe, is it's not settling in the lungs as much. And so kind of preliminary studies that we've seen with animal studies kind of show us that. So a lot of people are just going to kind of have a head cold and some sinus problems.
So in layman's terms, comparing Omicron to Delta or the other variants, more contagious, less dangerous to your health, basically.
It is less severe. Some of the preliminary research that's coming through hasn't been peer reviewed yet, but is being looked at specifically around this. A lot of journalists are reporting on it, is that it appears that there's about a 90% decrease in mortality. We're, from an epidemiologist point of view, we know that all the data hasn't come in yet. But what we're seeing coming out of New York, London, South Africa bodes well for that. We're still going to see people in the ICU. We're still going to see people die, but it's not as bad as Delta was. Again, our problem with Omicron is that instead of being spread out over 4 months, everybody who's going to get sick and need to be hospitalized is going to get sick probably in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
And the people who are sick aren't going to be sick as long as opposed to the Delta variant or anything else.
Correct. We're seeing that, the average hospital stay for Delta was about 10 days. Information coming out of New York and the west side of the mountains in Seattle suggests that that's shortened down to 3 days. So we are still seeing people who are hypoxic, which means they're not getting enough oxygen into their bloodstream. And so those are the individuals who are going to end up being hospitalized with milder disease. So they still need treatment, they still need care, but it's all going to happen at once.
Do you have good days, Luke? I mean, are there good days? I know it sounds silly, but you've held up remarkably well with great aplomb. Your staff has been phenomenal, considering the amazing amount of stress at their end. Is it just one sloggy day after the other, or do you have good days?
I occasionally have good days. Getting the Omicron Emergency Operations Center up and running today was the first day. I would take that as a good day. You got to find the wins where you can. And, I've been asked by colleagues and different people, is this the hardest thing you've ever done? Not yet, but it's getting there. It's close. And, but it does wear. It wears on me, it wears on my staff, and it wears on the general public. And I would be lying if I said it didn't affect my mental health. And so I've worked really closely with my friends and my support network to reach out for help when I need it. And I recommend that to my staff. I recommend that to anyone in general who's going through a crisis right now. This pandemic isn't something anyone wished for. It's not something that we really want to have happen. And especially working in the middle of a crisis, you can kind of become numb and apathetic to what's happening. And so I really encourage people to reach out to friends and family, call up somebody close if you're having a hard time, and try to really support yourself. And I've had to do that during this time. It's part of the reason why I'm still here, is that that support network has got to be really strong. But it's tough. It's really, really hard.
And this is not going to last forever. If there's any good news out of this Omicron thing, it's the next variant, but it's as we talked about this off camera a little bit, viruses will do what they do. They will, here I am, and I'm going to infect a bunch of people until I run out of steam. Then I'm going to morph into something else and try again until eventually, for lack of a better term, it gives up and goes home. So this will eventually end.
The silver lining to Omicron is that it is so quick. It moves so fast, and we're preliminarily seeing that people who are infected with Omicron actually have protection from Delta. We're not seeing it the other way. Individuals who are infected by Delta, we're actually seeing really high reinfection rates. But once Omicron goes through, we know that we're going to be probably seeing less from some of the other variants that are out there. And so as this kind of goes around the globe and kind of hits everybody, it's going to give us kind of a general protection for a little while. Especially if you're vaccinated, you're going to get that extra bit of protection. Barring some other natural disaster or some other virus coming in, we expect to have a little bit of a reprieve from the next variant. And we expect it to shift more into kind of a seasonal thing like the flu. The flu, we expect historically, the Spanish influenza happened in 1918 is where we kind of have the modern flu from, right? And it's shifted into different seasons. So during our summers, it's in the southern hemisphere during their winters, spreading and mutating, and then it comes and hits us in our winter. So we expect that COVID to kind of gain the same type of cyclical pattern as influenza, but we're still not there yet. We got to get through this piece, and then hopefully we'll have a bit of a break, and as we move forward, we'll see how it kind of transforms itself.
And maybe it'll be somewhat like the flu in that you're supposed to get a flu shot every year heading into the flu season, and you have to get one every year because every year there's a slight different variant of the flu, which is why you need to get immunized from the flu every year as opposed to, one and you'll never get polio, that kind of deal. I'll let you have the final word, Luke. I'll cut you loose. Whatever else is on your mind, I'll let you take us home as we get some very important information on Omicron. Luke, I'll let you take it to the house, take it to home plate.
I think the main thing that I want people to understand and learn from this experience is that we have to do this together. As we are working with our Omicron Emergency Operations Center, as we're working with our schools and our clinics, our long-term care facilities, all these different groups, we've seen an incredible amount of support for the response to keep the lights on, keep the water running, keep kids in school as much as we can, and move through this. At some point, towards the end of the month, we might have everybody be exposed. And we may not have enough resources to test everybody. We may not have enough resources to get to give everyone those types of things. And so we just ask people to be generous with one another during this time, to be patient with these different systems, and we can weather this together.
Luke Davies is the administrator of the Chelan Douglas Health District. Thank you again for coming down and visiting me and giving us that important information. And again, as far as the Town Toyota Center testing side is concerned, you can't just show up. Go to the Chelan Douglas Health District. It's a very simple form. You fill it out, and then you will know if you really need to go down there and get tested. And if you don't feel well and you think you may have it, go to the triage center at Saddle Rock Church across at the corner of Miller and Crawford, right across the street from the hospital. Don't go to the hospital. They got enough problems as it is. Luke, it's good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you too.
Anytime you need to see me, you have an open invitation.
Appreciate it.
And we will be right back.
Different birds enjoy different types of foods, so it's important to offer all the right things for the birds you want to attract. Sound complicated? It doesn't have to be. Our Flying Start Combo is an all-in-one feeder that attracts all the birds in your backyard, with seed, suet, nuts, and fruit. Stop by our store to find out how you can get started feeding the birds. Wild Birds Unlimited. We bring people and nature together.
Hello, my name is Brian Brett, the Fire Chief for Chelan County Fire District 1, and I just wanted to talk about how amazing our Rivercom team is. They are intentional, purposeful, and skillful in everything they do, and they are the best at what they do. How they prepare, how they handle the caller, how they coordinate the emergency services, and how they push themselves to be the best. This is the kind of spirit that our Rivercom telecommunicators have. Our community needs you, we need you, we admire you, you're our lifeline.
Arctic Refrigeration and Heating has been providing heating and cooling services in our valley since 1984. Arctic offers a variety of refrigeration and heating services, proudly now selling Bryant systems. Heating and air conditioning for your home or business. Commercial refrigeration service for your coolers, freezers, and prep tables. And now, full service on gas fireplaces for your home or business. Whatever it takes, Arctic Refrigeration and Heating, the temperature experts.
Crystal's Restaurant and Lounge in Leavenworth has a warm environment to enhance your dining experience. Serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Crystal's Intimate Lounge is a wonderful place to relax and dine with beautiful views of the mountains. Do you have a special occasion coming up? Call Crystal's to reserve their event space. Whether your event is grand, intimate, or casual, Crystal's provides unforgettable food and superb service. Crystal's Restaurant and Lounge, proud to be serving fabulous food and drinks. Beautiful morning, sunshine, 37 degrees. We're already pretty close to our forecast high. It's a great scenario. That air inversion is gone. It was 86 last night, and we had a little bit of wind. It scoured out the skies, and now we have another ridge of high pressure that's just offshore, and it's going to be fairly well entrenched, and that means sunshine with some patchy fog in the morning. From the National Weather Service, one more look at what we're dealing with. Right around 40, maybe even a little warmer than that. Again, we're already at 38 degrees. I'm liking that. With just a few passing clouds. 26 for the overnight low tonight. It's going to be clear, so it's going to get chilly. Sunshine Saturday, considerably cooler, but still very nice. And no passing clouds or anything on Saturday. It's looking good. Then we start dealing with a little bit of that fog. A little patchy fog in the early morning hours on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday. It burns off rather rapidly, and we'll be warming up to slightly above normal temperatures with bountiful sunshine for the most part, all the way through Wednesday and Thursday of next week. The freezing levels over the weekend are going to be way up there. We're talking about 10,000 feet. So the scenario is the higher up you are, the warmer it's actually going to be. That's it for us. Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.